thinking about more than making $3 billion. There's also thinking about how you help society, how you help your community, and that's where that whole triple bottom line comes in, which requires not only a different type of economic model and investment model, but also having investors that are willing to drink the Kool-Aid and think about doing more than trying to get 100x by doing shotgun investments. Maybe they're willing to do slower investments with a 5x return. So I think that's one of the things we'll explore together. But you know, I think we're going to try and do our best to try and weigh that as we talk about it on the panel.
That's a great introduction for that. And Sean, you've been kind of entrenched in some of the modeling that's been going on in the last few years here in LA. And I know that we've been working with you talking about the IFA as well. Do you want to talk a little bit about what that looks like? Does it look like the traditional model? Is it something different? Is it breaking apart and coming together in a different way?
Sure. I mean, I think it's actually a great time to be in Los Angeles and be in the field of innovation, because there's so much happening here right now. A lot of my career has been spent looking at how do you develop economic clusters? How do you develop innovation clusters in particular areas? So when you look at that, and really it's actually quite interesting. So when you look at it, there's probably about 5 factors that you want to look at. It's sort of that you might call, a lot of times to say it simply, almost like a shake and bake Silicon Valley. Like, what are some of those core elements that go into making up a successful economic cluster? And really there's 5 things that you look at. And number 1 is technology. Number 2 is talent. Number 3 is capital. Number 4 is the right kind of sort of regulatory environment. And number 5 is this very intangible thing that are examples of leadership. So when you look at those 5 things, it's when we say technology, it's, you know, is your area pumping out the patents or the innovations, or has the R&D plants or things like that that are really creating the innovative technologies. Talent, or, you know, it's everything from university graduates and PhDs to sort of the raw talent that can work in your factories. For example, in LA, we have a really vibrant apparel manufacturing industry. One of the only areas in the United States that still does apparel manufacturing, that is largely based on the talent pool that we have here, like just different methods of acidizing jeans, for example, that make them a certain way. So just that kind of talent is important. Capital, so I think I don't need to say much about that. You've heard about it all afternoon. But it's not just that there are venture capitalists or angels to invest. I think it's also that you have a more cutting edge market. So like a market that is more willing to take chances and try things out before they are fully established. Because you can raise capital more organically as well, not just by getting it from a venture capitalist, as long as you have a little bit of seed funding. 4th is regulation or regulatory environment. You can really see that in things like, I've done a lot of work in the area of clean technology, and the regulatory environment is actually probably one of the most important of those 5 factors. You know, is California's renewable portfolio standard goals, for example, give a lot of opportunities to build companies that help the state achieve those goals in that area. So in environmental technologies, California is a leader, mainly because it's been a leader in environmental policy. And the 5th, it's a little bit intangible, but like I said, it's examples of leadership. And I'm not talking about political leaders. I'm not talking about like Jerry Brown, he's a real leader on this, or Mayor Garcetti, he's a real leader on this. It's more that people see an example in your region of a commitment to that industry. Sometimes it can be, for example, a successful incubator that's well supported in that area.